So you've been in therapy for a while now and you think that you're ready to start bringing up a past or present trauma. You have to make sure that you're prepared to do this because bringing up trauma can be traumatic in itself because you're having to relive the trauma again. So make sure you are fully prepared to go through this process. So you have two options. You have to decide whether you want to just be heard or you want to actually start unpacking this trauma and working towards it. The latter requires for you to put in a lot more effort, so you also have to make sure that you are prepared to do that. The two are different because one is a form of catharsis and the other is a form of healing. By now you should have notes that you would have made with each therapy session. Our therapists make notes. You should definitely be making notes too. It helps you have control over each session. It's also helpful for you to see your progress. Or if you go to therapy and you don't know what to discuss, you can refer back to your notes and maybe pick out something that you want to work on. Your therapist can have a structure made for you that you need to follow, but you also have the right to say, this is what I want to work on. Like I said, working through trauma is a lot. It takes a lot out of you. I personally thought that I was ready to start working on my trauma. And the moment I started the process, I realized that actually all I needed was to be heard. I was not prepared to actually start doing the work because it's difficult. It's uncomfortable. It will bring up a lot of emotions and it would take a lot out of you. So do not be afraid to stop if you're not ready to continue. You have every right to do so. Do not be surprised if the first time that you open up about your trauma, you have this overwhelming feeling of euphoria. I experienced that where I just had a massive sigh of relief. I felt a lot lighter within myself, but I think that's also what made things very real and scary for me to proceed with processing this trauma. And so I had to think long and hard on whether I was ready to deal with this trauma or it was just the fact that I needed some acknowledgement that what I went through was traumatic. There's no wrong or right way of processing your trauma. However, you should make sure that it's not having any adverse effect on your health and your mental health. So just to summarize, here are the 3 things you should do. First, write everything down so that you have a process that you're able to work through with your therapist. 2, decide whether you want to be acknowledged, to just be heard, or you actually want to start unpacking this trauma and working towards it. And the final thing is, if you've had enough and you don't want to go any further, you can stop. You can always go back a step and decide whether you just want to be acknowledged or you are ready to do the work. Your trauma is valid and you do deserve to work towards healing. And I wish you the best of luck.